Elden Ring Nightreign has consumed my gaming life since the time of its release. Very few games have captivated me as quickly as this game has. In record time, it's made me completely absorbed in its world. I am addicted to it. Even as I type out this script, all I want to do is boot up for another expedition through Limveld. So, why? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today because man do I love this game, and for good reason. So grab a snack, because I've got nerding out to do on why Nightreign is as chaotically fun as it is. The best way I can describe Nightreign's core gameplay is Elden Ring on a caffeine overdose. It's fast-paced, always move, with hardly any time to stop. It brings a new layer of stress and complexity to a system that many people have gotten accustomed to in Elden Ring. Now you have Elden Ring combat, but dialed up to 11, and with the pressure of time always on your mind. I remember hearing about the structure of this game prior to release and thinking to myself, how in the hell do they make this work? A roguelike Souls game? It just seemed like a recipe for making a mess. Then I played it, and its teeth have remained stuck since. The secret sauce? The Nightfarers. Wilder, Duchess, Iron Eye, Guardian, Executor, Raider, Recluse, and Revenant each provide a fresh set of eyes to engage with the game's core systems. They aren't simply a stat swap you pick on a screen disguised as a character. No, they are their own unique characters with specialties dedicated only to them. The best part? There are layers to all of them. Some are by design, easier to play, such as Wilder, while others, like Executor or Duchess, are for a more technical playstyle, which is true to their characteristics and attributes. Or, if you like being an absolute unit, then you'd go for Guardian or Raider. One excels in defense, while the other absorbs damage to dish it back out. My point is, a playstyle exists for most people to enjoy, unless you have a weird pot-throwing build, I don't know. Honestly, I think it's a bit understated of how much the Nightfarers alone have carried this game and its replay value. They completely transformed Elden Ring's core combat into something distinct, yet familiar all the same. The inclusion of the unique movesets they have with their preferred weapon class, the character skills, and the ultimate moves never seem to get old. It all just makes the happy dopamine receptors in my brain tickle. Furthermore, the Nightfarers have had an impact on the player base in another way. Connectivity. People love these characters. Not just as fun characters to control in a video game, but as actual characters they click with and grow an attachment to. Many people main any of the given Nightfarers not just for their playstyle, but because they resonate with the actual character. The Nightfarers are all their own unique individuals, with personalities, motivations, and goals crafted to them. This is arguably the aspect I love most about them, and I think the writing presented to us for each of them deserved to be praised. From Software didn't need to give us such in-depth characters and storylines to go along with this side spin-off game for Elden Ring, but they did, and it's all great stuff. There is so much more that could be said about each character on their own, but we'll be here all day if I were to do that here. That said, Duchess is my girl and she ain't ever done a wrong thing in her entire life. Alrighty, the characters are cool. Great. What else is there? Well, every good cast of characters needs a playground, which is what Limveld is, a playground. This world will go from unfamiliar and weird to like sleepwalking to the kitchen at 3 a.m. to warm up those chocolate chip cookies in the microwave. Home. It'll feel like home. What I love about Nightreign's map is, while mostly seed-generated in its randomness, there are always constants. Much like how your Nightfarer of choice will get a consistent build to comfortably enter expeditions, the map will have set reliabilities that you can use in every run. On a normal map, you will have 3 set mine locations, 7 Everjails, and Center Castle. Each of these, unless there's a shifting earth, we'll get to that, are a constant that the player can usually count on. All of them are useful, but have a catch. The mines. Certain characters will value the mines over others, and it's good to visit these locations early in day 1 if possible. Nightfarers like Duchess and Executor will often be ones to make a pit stop to the mines, as these two can actually build their starting weapons to be very strong with, say, a status build, which can help the team snowball. Or if someone has found a particularly good roll on a weapon, stave, or seal, then hitting up the mines can really turn what may be a mediocre run into a clean sweep. However, depending on the situation, it simply isn't worth the investment to go to the mines. The Everjails? Many are keen on the Everjail meta by now, but how worth it is depends on a few factors. Does every player have the relic effect? If not, how many of them do? If none, then it's advised to so go to the Everjails and hope for a strong foe, such as a Godskin or a Crucible Knight. But if it's a Gank Squad Everjail, then maybe pass on it. Regardless of the build you have, they are always worth a quick stop, but their reliability and value is determined by the situation. Then, the Central Castle, the good old reliable. When in doubt, go there, right? Well, yes and no. The usefulness of Castle is determined by what is stationed there. If it's Crucible Knights, then you and the rest of your team can say hello to that sweet level 15 this run. It's runes galore. Not only that, but it can take very little time if you and your team are coordinated enough. Banished Knights? Still pretty good, but not as good. Less runes, more enemies, but at least it isn't—
Who died over here?
all trolls. This game has me looking at Elden Ring trolls in a whole new light, let me tell you. It's okay, EG, I still like you. So, that's what we can usually expect from Limveld, whereas forts, runes, rises, cathedrals, and churches are each scattered about at various locations, some of them differing in element, and then not to mention POI bosses that are tossed around too. At least, that's what it seems like at first. Field bosses, at the very least, can be easily predicted after a while. What can't be predicted, however? There is one word which best describes Nightreign's core gameplay loop, and I believe that word is chaos. For many people who first start out, this game can be overwhelming, but you grow familiar enough with the basics and comfort sets in. That is, so long as everything goes generally as planned. Unpredictability is still the foundation of any roguelike, and Nightreign is no different. All it takes is one big misstep or wrong turn for hell to break loose. And I freaking love it. Part of this chaos are the shifting earth events, which is an aspect of the game I like quite a lot, especially when it happens randomly. These shake up the usual flow state of map traversal by not only adding a different location to a section of the map, but by removing key points of interest too. You got the shifting crater event? Well, you can say goodbye to the 2 top mine locations and 3 Everjails. Oh, Noclateo? We'll say goodbye to Center Castle entirely. Got Rotted Woods? Hope your field boss knowledge is up to snuff, because you're going to be fighting damn near each one of them. What makes each of these so great is how they shake up the common strategy and replace it with another. Now, after you get used to the seeds in which these spawn in, they do become a lot easier, which is why I prefer to always rest once I get a shifting earth and not enable it back, as I prefer it to be a surprise. Ones such as Noclateo are interesting because it removes what is arguably the most reliable go-to spot on the map, Center Castle, thus forcing you to tackle the surrounding locations more than you may otherwise, or brave the city itself early at low level. Whereas Rotted Woods is basically a boss rush and personally is my favorite one because of it. Taking out bosses as quickly as you can, then rushing to the next one, all while keeping an eye out for the power-up to prevent your character from being infected with Scarlet Rot, only furthers the chaos. Your efforts are rewarded by getting a nice HP boost, gaining immunity to the Scarlet Rot, and passively gaining the rally effect from Bloodborne. But that last part is negated a bit if you're already running the Relic passive, which grants you this. The crater shifting earth is really dope due to its vertical layout. Traveling through forces you to engage with battles that lock your progression downward to a Magma Worm boss. Your reward? The ability to make any weapon that you have into that of legendary status. Be it a great purple tier weapon you found, or perhaps your starting weapon if you have a relic build focused around that. This power-up is my favorite of the shifting earths because it's so satisfying to make an already enjoyable weapon even better for the remainder of the run. Finally, mountaintops. It's a fine event, but honestly my least favorite. I think the climb up is really cool, but I've never found the power up itself to be notably useful. It's good for Caligo and Adele, don't get me wrong, but beyond those Night Lords, Invasions are a real treat. They inject more of that chaotic element which I crave from this game. The Cataclysm event can be a dicey one, most times worth it. Having to fight a doppelganger version of a Nightfare and claim their loot for your own can seriously turn the tides of a run, as they'll always drop the best versions of their weapons and also the attached passive. The enemies also hit like a truck, so watch out for that. The Flame of Frenzy event feels more scripted than the others, as I usually notice it when the Night Lord is Libra, but it's a fun one. It can be a bit of a jump scare too, but the rewards you get are pretty sweet. Events such as the Walking Mausoleum and Meteor Fall, while really cool, happen way too infrequently. I'd love to see an increase in their chances to appear. Please, FromSoft. A few of the invasions can involve select Night Lords too. Libra and Sentient Pests are generally pretty good, especially on day one. Augur has made me say choice words. By far my favorite invasions though are Morgott, the certified #1 hater, and the second Night Boss invasion. These are always such a treat when they happen. Morgott is unrelenting in hunting you down, and he can spawn at such terrible times, like seriously bro, that I just can't help but love it when he jumps in. His event is chaos, plain and simple. As for the second Night 2 boss, it serves as a nice ah crap moment, and I think further sells the point that in Nightreign, you cannot ever let your guard down. Then we have the Everdark Sovereign bosses, and these are wonderful additions. I think we need to look no further than Everdark Adele to see why. As the first of the Everdarks to release, he blew away expectations for many folks and set the bar pretty high for the remaining ones. Then we got Everdark Fulgor, which is basically everybody's favorite. Following that, we have more gimmicky bosses with Sentient Pest and Augur, the latter of the two being a callback to the classic Storm Ruler set piece, which FromSoftware can't seem to get enough of. Also, good lord, this dog does a lot of damage. After the Everdarks came the Deep of Night update to throw in a wrench to those who had gotten too cozy with the game, as it provides much harder challenges than that of the base game experience. And for the majority of Deep of Night, I think it's a great fun time. What I like most about it isn't really the fact that it's harder, but it's the elements of surprise that FromSoftware sprinkled throughout, like being unable to see map icons, which forces you to think more on your feet and visually scout out where to go as you're physically moving through an expedition. Then there's not knowing for certain what Night Lord you'll be facing. But if you know which sky represents which lord, this is counteracted. Initially, I thought this was sort of lame, but now I believe it to be great for those who have played this game so much, and have since acquired that knowledge. Deep of Night is for more experienced players, so I enjoy things like that. Top it off with the various passive effects you can find on weapons, 2 being beneficial and 1 a negative. It brings more consideration into your decision making, and if the pros outweigh the cons to you. Though there are cons that are just so incredibly bad that I will always steer clear from, such as repeated evasion lowers damage negation. Good lord. I understand that Deep of Night has caused some contention within the community. Some believing it to be not enough change from the base game, others saying the higher depths are much too overtuned and thus staying at depths 2 or 3, while others absolutely thrive in the extreme challenge something like Depth 5 presents. My takeaway here is that, with the inclusion of being able to adjust your own depth level, simply enjoy the mode in the way which is most fun for you. Like with any good FromSoftware game, part of the fun and satisfaction comes from the mastery of the mechanics and challenges put ahead of the player. Nightreign does this too, but with a spin. Sure, you still have to get better at fighting certain enemies, be it a mini-boss, a night boss, or one of the various Night Lords. But there is another layer. Nightreign is very much a game where most people will settle in with a character they grow attached to, that they main. And with that comes the joy of not only playing that specific Nightfarer, but also improving with them, learning their tricks and tech. Playing that Nightfarer so much to the point you uncover all these tiny details that only somebody who has played this character for over 100 hours would know. That is yet another part of the addictive nature to this game. Accompanying each Nightfarer's playstyle is of course how you dedicate a build to them. Do you play Wilder purely around greatswords and further amplify his ability to use them? Or do you go more broadly and build into his ultimate art instead, allowing you to pick up whatever weapon you find and decide to use? As Duchess, do you go down the path of critical attack builds, a status-inclined relic setup, or a full caster-centric playstyle? How about a mix? Duchess is versatile enough to do so, and as you've seen from my own footage, I am most certainly a status Duchess enjoyer. How do you achieve these builds? Well, with relics, which is the ultimate long haul of Nightreign. Players try endlessly for god roll RNG to bless the relics for their desired builds. I find it to be both a fun and infuriating system. I love it for how much customization is actually allowed, but also drives me up a wall due to how random it all truly is. The relic system is flawed, but it does allow for many cool, differing approaches to play, while still leaning into a Nightfarer's given strengths. It doesn't stop at relics though. Your build and game plan can, and likely will, entirely change throughout an expedition, which is another element of the addictive nature to Nightreign. How the game forces you to adapt and keeps you forever on your toes. Guess this is what I'm doing now is a common sentiment in this game, and it's beneficial. Or you could find exactly what you're looking for and make your character nearly unkillable. This all stems from what is arguably the most vital skill to master in Nightreign, which is routing. Learning how to route is something everyone will have to get familiar with, and it's a trait that I certainly struggled with initially. What do you value most in your route? Is that route beneficial to your whole team or only yourself? Is it a long-term route, or are you just winging it step by step? Can you adjust your route once the first circle kicks in? These are all factors that a good player will need to consider and even adapt to regardless of what happens. It's hard to predict exactly what will occur, and that's the point. It's a key aspect of what lends this game to being as chaotic and fun as it is. Nevertheless, don't wait long on a choice of what to do next. Time is always ticking, so you gotta move. A rule of thumb I follow is, if I take more than 5 seconds to make a choice, then just make one and live with the consequences. Making a decision fast is what you'll need to get used to. Of course, I would be foolish not to talk about the Night Lords themselves. They're fantastic. I won't go on about them too much because we've been going for long enough, but my favorites are absolutely Heolster, Darkdrift Knight, Adele, and Libra. Every Night Lord though has something unique to bring, and being accompanied by an absolute banger OST. Nightreign has to have amongst the best soundtrack in the entire Souls series by From Software. Maybe that's a hot take, but I do not care. The music in this game is stellar. Everything in this game is designed to give you dopamine rush after dopamine rush. It's honestly quite brilliant. So this is where I would have started my conclusion, but From Software just had to release the DLC trailer while I'm writing the script, and I am currently losing whatever is left of my mind. My addiction concretely has zero chance of ending. I am so doomed, oh my god. There you have it. The reason this game has dug its claws in me so deeply is simple. It's a burst of fun rooted from a franchise that normally requires long commitment. That's why I am addicted to Elden Ring Nightreign. It's sheer fun rooted in chaos, and I wouldn't have it any other way for this game. Hey y'all, post-editing me here to say thank you so much for watching this video till the end. It means a lot to me, The DLC is just a few days away at this point, and I cannot wait to sink even more hours into Nightreign. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button as it truly helps me be seen more. And if you want to see DLC content uploaded, I am planning on uploading fresh runs of it on its release, so feel free to subscribe too. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see y'all in the next one. Adios!